Well, if you were thinking about quitting your job, you're certainly not alone out there.
As a matter of fact, some people are taking it a step further with a resignation letter already written.
Yeah, they are totally prepared. There was a survey that was done of 2,000 employees. They found that 59% have a draft letter saved and ready to be deployed at a moment's notice. A third of people say they quit a job in the past 2 years, and more than half of them saying it was the best decision they had ever made.
And almost everyone said they would have stayed if they had better benefits or career development. So our next guest knows a few ways to keep employees from leaving.
Hey, sure does. Joining us to talk about the Great Resignation is the employee whisperer. I love that. Jason Greer, so good to see you.
Hey, Tams, it's great to see you. How are you?
Oh, I'm so good. You're a labor and diversity expert, correct, with Greer Consulting. Is that right?
That's correct.
Wonderful. Let's talk about this. Employees seem to have the upper hand. We just read that study. It seems like they have a big upper hand, but you say trust really is a big issue in all this.
Trust is everything. Look, if people are going to spend 12 to 14 hours a day working for you, they want to know that you have their back. I mean, current stats will clearly show that when COVID hit, there were layoffs, there were furloughs. Actually, 57% of employees reported that they were completely disengaged. Because if you don't establish trust, or if you breach that trust, what do you have?
Well, Jason, we often hear about morale, and how does company culture make a difference, and who should people actually go to for advice if they have an issue with the culture?
That's a great question. You know, I live by the model that people will work for money, but they'll die for respect and they'll die for recognition. If they don't feel respected, if they don't feel recognized, you don't have a company culture. You basically have a toxic work environment. I would tell you, theoretically, you can go to human resources, you go directly to your management. But what I generally tell corporations that I do consulting with is you need to take an assessment as to what your work environment is like. Is this a place that people want to belong to? Is this a place that makes people feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves? If not, you have a bigger issue that you need to solve before you can actually ask the question, why don't people want to work here?
Yeah, and that is something that you have to ask. So what is the danger of making assumptions about the reason people leave?
I'm so glad you asked that question, because if I hear another person say that the reason why people don't want to work is because they're lazy, I'm going to jump out the window, and I have no vertical. So trust me on this. Look, they call me the employee whisperer for a reason, because I talk to thousands of employees per year. And I'm going to tell you this. I just had a conversation with a single mother yesterday. And here's what she said. She said, I would love to go back to work, but when COVID hit, her son's school decided to do distance learning. So I have to be home with him, and I cannot afford full-time care for my son while also working. So I want to go back to work, but I can't afford to go back to work.
And Jason, we know during the pandemic, a lot of people reinvented themselves and actually became self-employed. You say there's something we can do called reimagine work. What exactly is that?
We got to ask the bigger question. Thanks so much for asking the question. When I talk about reimagining work, look, if you think the old school way of I'm just going to pay you whatever I want to and you should be happy to have a job, if you think that's the new mentality, you are mistaken. What people want more than anything else is they want the type of organization that they can feel proud of, the type of organization that doesn't just look at them as just another cog in the wheel, but the type of organization in which they can add value and they can actually be rewarded for that value. And that reward looks more, it doesn't just look like monetary reward, it looks that intrinsic reward that we're asking employers to give to their employees.
So we have people watching tonight that say, okay, I'm an employee. How can I try to make this a reality in my job tomorrow when I walk in?
Be honest. Be honest with yourself. Is that the organization that you work for, is this the type of organization in which I can actually speak my mind? I'm going to say this, and I'm not a big proponent for telling people to quit their jobs, but I'm going to say that this is the day and age of the employee. If your current position is not the type of position in which you feel like you can be yourself, that you can speak forth and be yourself, there are 15 to 20 other jobs out there, and employers are desperate for great talent. Ask yourself the bigger question, is this someplace that values me?
And it's good to empower people and let them see that they do have power to change their circumstances.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the key. Look, let's be honest. We spend more time at work than we spend at home or doing other things. So if I'm going to spend all this time giving myself to an organization or a corporation, I at least want to get something out of it. And when I talk about getting something out of it, I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about I want to be part of an organization where I feel like I can be myself.
I love it. The employee whisperer, Jason Greer. Good to have you. Thank you. I hope we can have you back, sir.
Hey, I look forward to it. Thank you both. You were wonderful.
All right, take care.